Okay, thank you very much. Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Fawziat, for making this meeting and doing all the arrangements. It's a pleasure to be here and to be a part of this community. My name is Dr. Mohammad Zandie, and today I'll be talking about my career story and a little bit of my life background from from where I came from, and what I'm doing at the moment. So let's get started. I was born in a Kurdish family, and for those of you who don't know about Kurdish people, please do search them online. You will find them great people with incredible history, wonderful culture, and something that we are particularly proud of is our stylish sort of dancing style, as you can tell from the figure that I've got in here. Unfortunately, because I'd say from early life, I didn't have the privileges of having my parents in my life. I ended up being raised by my grandparents, which there is no complaint because I believe later I realized that that was one of the best thing that ever happened to me. Um, and because of the lack of resource and the unavoidable poverty that we were facing at that time, for me particularly, education wasn't the only way forward. It was the only way out of that poverty. So, but before I get too serious with that, I want to mention that I also had a different dream, entirely different, I'd say. I played football for 5 years. And oftentimes I wonder if things went a bit slightly different from the things that happened to me. I reckon you would be seeing me playing in Premier League, perhaps for Aston Villa instead. So, yeah, engineering is actually plan B for me. During my education for my bachelor's and my master's, I managed to graduate as summa cum laude with highest rank. And in 2021, I took a leap of faith and made the biggest decisions of my life to undertake a PhD. And basically, it was really hard to do that because I had to say goodbye to my hometown and my families, my friends, and everything I knew back there. And for people like us from those particular countries, it's not really easy because I vividly remember the day that I took the flight, knowing that perhaps this might be the last day that I'm actually seeing my loved ones. And it wasn't really easy, to be fair. But deep down, I knew that it was going to be for greater purposes. So I'm really grateful that in March 2021, I got the PhD opportunity from Nottingham University, Malaysia branch. And something that I was really grateful for was I got the full scholarship during my PhD. And I'm saying this because it would have been really hard otherwise if I didn't have that financial support from the university. And my PhD actually coincided with the COVID time. And despite all the horrific thing that we faced during that period, one of the great things that happened to me was because obviously it was complete lockdown. There was pretty much nothing to do. So I had to kind of get my head down and do my research. And that was probably one of the reasons that I finished my PhD in 2 years. And during that period, I managed to publish multiple papers in highly ranked, highly reputable journals. And apart from that, I received multiple awards. One of them was actually Postgraduate Showcase Award. And I want to highlight something here. As soon as I stepped into University of Nottingham, I kind of tend to build this sense of realization that the seat that I've got in this university is something that most people actually dream of. I think I was slightly lucky enough to be that in that place. So I made my sure, I promised myself I'm not going to take this opportunity and take them for granted, basically. So I used all the resources I was surrounded by to basically do a great job and leave no stone unturned. And towards the back end of my PhD, I decided to apply for jobs across the world. And I think the next best thing that happened to me was I actually got a KTB associate position at University of Birmingham, UK. And I'm saying this because I've always had this dream of coming to the UK and seeing London, the Tower Bridge, the London Eye, and so on and so forth. And I think it kind of traces back to the series named Sherlock Holmes. I believe you've all seen that. It kind of made me fall in love with this country. So I'm really grateful that in 2023 March, I embarked upon a different journey and joined University of Nottingham, University of Birmingham, in collaboration with NSB. And I need to kind of clarify something in here. My position as a KTB associate, it stands for Knowledge Transfer Partnership, which means you basically work in university, but you are also employed by a company to resolve some sort of industrial problem that they are facing. So during my enrollment in NSB, I was actually the lead CFD engineer working on the fire and smoke. And when I say that, people normally say, okay, fire and smoke, that's a bit interesting. So are you the person who starts the fire or pretty much stops it? So I could tell you, we people as fire engineers, we try our best to, first of all, avoid fires from happening. And if do so, we try to come up with solutions and proposals to kind of confine it to a particular space to have the minimum structural and obviously human casualties. And in NSP, actually won the High Performance Club Award. That award was particularly important to me because it was a collective nomination of the high performing, high integrity with a lot of criteria staff within the company. I'm grateful that I won that. And apart from that, I led a variety of engineering projects worth over 65k within the span of 2 years. And although I think there's a bit of a problem with the lines in here, the last one is actually about developing a revolutionary neural network algorithm for car parks. In a very simple sense, what we did is if you come from an engineering background, if you want to design the ventilation systems, the fans, the car bays, the columns, and everything for car parks, you have to basically do it manually. Either the design engineer or the fire engineer have to pretty much sit down and come up with the best solution. Whereas we developed something, an AI algorithm that actually basically, without any human intervention, defines the most optimum configurations for car parks for you. And that was pretty much impressive for us because we were able to publicize that. Actually, we published 2 papers just last year on that research. And after that time, I wanted to do something a bit bigger, and I wanted to kind of expose myself to something a bit more challenging, and really truly make myself to come out of this comfort zone, because otherwise you can't actually progress. And that was the reason that I applied for another job in Calvert-Cedon to basically pursue my seniority over there. And I'm currently enrolled at Calvert-Cedon, leading the engineering research. And what we do basically, in a very simple sense, if I want to summarize it, is we make strategies to avoid fire. Now, I've got 2 videos. Fuzia, if you please oblige me to kind of play them simultaneously so I could go through what we're doing. So on the right side, if you could please play them together, it would be a bit, there we go. So the right side is actually a representative of a car park with 4 stairs going down to it. What we've done is basically we set up the most onerous fire scenario, perhaps one of these cars that was over there, hopefully not mine. But what we are trying to do is we come up with the best solution using our fans, our entire ventilation system, to find out how long does it take for the smoke to actually leave the entire car park, for the people to be able to evacuate, or for the fires to arrive at the scene and tackle the fire. And on the left side, Fuzia, if you could please play that from the beginning again, because I think we lost a little bit of it. So the left side is actually an entirely different story. This is called evacuation modeling. What we're doing is basically we define people's behaviors. These are realistic scenarios, by the way. And as you could tell, there are people trying to make their way out of that building, some of them using the stairs, some of them using the lift, depending on their behavioral characteristics. Why? Because they've got a room in front of them, the opposite room, actually catching fire. Again, that wasn't my problem. I'm just here to help. So yeah, this is basically what we do. So this is particularly my area of expertise. I hope it kind of gives you a more elaborative understanding of what we're doing in here. So now getting back to my point, I was actually awarded just recently associate membership with IFE, Institution of Fire Engineers. Now, I want to explain something in here. After Grenfell, I'm sure you've all heard about the tragedy that happened in 2017 with nearly 72 people actually passing on, including women and children and firefighters. There was actually a national sort of movement to take the competency of the fire engineers slightly more serious. And that's why IFE came up with this sort of membership ideology and made it a lot more, I say, harder to get into it and get associate or full membership with them. But having been awarded the associate membership with IFE pretty much guaranteed back to me that I'm on the right path, and at least I know that I've got the right competency to do these sort of jobs. And apart from that, I was also awarded with IET membership. And at this stage of my life, I think I've been through enough challenges and different journeys to be able to basically be a good mentor for the people who share the basics, to share the same interest, or have got some sort of like a massive ambition for themselves to do something great in their life, in a way that if they look at themselves in a 10 years time, they could tell, fair play to you, you've done a great job, I'm proud of myself. And that's why I joined Migrant Leaders, because I think it's a wide community and quite diverse with a lot of people. Hopefully, I could be any sort of help towards these great, ambitious people in their life journey and as well as their career journey. And if I want to leave you, I want to leave you with a couple of words that has been stuck with me ever since I remember. And it goes to say, man's reach exceeds his imagination, which means basically if you put a lot of hard work, resilience, and perseverance, and just believing in yourself, and obviously the blessings you get from your Lord, good thing will come around. It's just waiting around the corner. You just have to be patient enough, believing in yourself. And I think Aliyah pretty much covered most of the things I was about to say in terms of what I've learned throughout this journey. But again, thank you for your time. And this is all about me. Hopefully, it was helpful to you.
Thank you so much, Mohammad.